Testing.
Testing.
Test 1, 2. hamayim merach hashamayim tefillat Adam. Oh God, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart.
We are assembled with our friends in the darkness that has fallen upon them. We raise our voices together, asking for comfort and strength. We need light when gloom darkens our lives. We need fortitude and courage when pain and loss assail us. Who among us has not passed through trials and bereavements? Some of us bear fresh wounds in our hearts and therefore feel more keenly the kinship of sorrow. Others, our days of mourning are more remote, and yet we still recall the comfort that sympathy brought to our sorrowing hearts. May our sharing of sorrow and our deeds of solace bring comfort to the loved ones of Karen Benwitt. Adonai ro ilo exar bino deshet yarbitseni al me menachot yanachaleni nafshia shovev yancheni v'magleit tzedek leman shmo gam ke'elek begeit salmavet lo irara ki ata imadi shiftecha mishantecha hema yanachamuni ta'arok lefanai shulchan neged sorarai deshanta v'shem and roshi kosi ravaya ach tov v'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai v'shafti b'veit Adonai lo'orak yamin. Those are the beautiful words of the 23rd Psalm written thousands of years ago. It's a psalm of hope and comfort. And in it is this powerful phrase that we all walk through the valley of the shadow of death, and yet we're not to be afraid. And the rabbis tell us that our fear is to find a place of comfort for that fear, in a sense, because the psalm doesn't say that we're to avoid the valley. It doesn't say we're supposed to run through it, and it definitely doesn't say that we're supposed to dwell in it. Rather, we honor Karen by grieving fully, by feeling the sadness, the loss, the pain, and then finding a way to walk through that and to honor her life by living our lives with a sense of fullness. And so if you know the words to the 23rd Psalm, I believe they might be written on inside the little pamphlet that was included in. I'll ask you to please join with me in these words of hope and comfort. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. The poet writes, Ledahi reshit uvtira taklit. Birth is a beginning and death a destination. But life is a journey, a going, a growing from stage to stage, from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness, and often back again, from health to sickness, and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not in some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Leda hire shituv tirataklit. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage made stage by stage, from birth to death to life everlasting. Dear friends, it is so fitting and so sad that we are gathered here. So appropriate because Karen grew up in this temple, in this sanctuary. Karen and Abby's parents helped found our synagogue in the living room of their home. Karen's father and uncle manufactured the original windows in this beautiful space. And being here is so sad. Karen was kind, thoughtful, considerate, and the word we use is that Karen was a mensch, a decent human being. And we are all so sad that we have to be here. The rabbis teach that the values that Karen lived are so great that the tears that are cried for her are stored in a divine treasure house. When I talked with Abby and Chuck and other members of the family, I witnessed these divine tears of love, respect, and holiness. Karen was the daughter of the late Rhoda and the late Maury, wife of Chuck, sister of Abby, sister-in-law of Manny, Tommy, and Sharon, mother of Seth, mother-in-law of Vanessa, stepmother of Eileen and Julie, and I can't read my writing, and Billy, Julie and Billy, aunt of Deborah, Emily and David, Amy and Sean, and Kevin, grandmother of Leo, Max, Ike, Leah, and Emily, and great aunt of Lexi, and a friend to all who knew her. Karen's cousins Lynn and Alex wrote these beautiful words. I read that cousins are really bonus siblings. When you're kids, they're playmates, and as adults, they become friends. When I think of my cousin Karen, I think of light. She was sunshine. Her smile, dimple, and sparkling eyes engaged your heart from the minute she walked into a room. Her laugh was contagious. Before Karen moved back to Florida, we spent time together in Arizona. That was really when our adult relationship began. Years later, whenever I was in Florida, we would meet up and catch up, sharing stories about kids, diets, dogs, table settings, and on, as if no time had passed. It was so wonderful to see the beautiful relationship that Karen and Chuck had. They truly were a team. There's Sweet, and then there's Karen. Always beautiful inside and out, always a lady, always caring and ready to help. How unfair that she had to fight this horrible disease for so long. But Karen did it with strength and courage. Rest in peace, dear Karen. You will not be forgotten, and you will always be loved. Karen and Chuck had a beautiful, loving, and happy relationship. When Karen was in the kitchen, she made everything from scratch. No shortcut, no prepackaged. And that's how she lived her life with Chuck. They had a wholesome, made from fresh ingredients love, a love that will always linger. I invite Karen's love, Chuck, to share a few words. Yeah.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's so nice to see everyone here, everyone who had such a wonderful relationship with Karen, my wife. And I want to share a few thoughts in my mind as we deal with this issue. And I'm going to do a little reading. I just wanted to share some thoughts with all of you who've had such love and respect for Karen. As some of you might know, 23 years ago, February 12, 1998, two newly divorced people had a blind date arranged by family members. We had no expectations, as this was a brand new experience for both of us. Dinner was at Joe Allen's in Miami Beach on February 12th, and was the beginning of a long and wonderful life together. How lucky we were. We lived in Miami Beach to be near Rhoda and Morney until they passed. Karen thought it would, no. We then moved north to West Palm Beach and started a new life together. Karen on the tennis courts and me on the golf course, and Max, our Tibetan Terrier, by our side. Karen thought it would be great to have a party for all the dogs and their families. A fun time for all and a great way to meet our IBIS neighbors. Yappy Hour was the name and theme of this party. Karen set up the event to include a variety of prizes for the best dressed, the most obedient, and other tests. The top prize was a session with a dog psychiatrist. Yappy Hour was a huge success. That was our Karen, always giving of herself, being creative, and unselfishly giving of her time. All proceeds went to Peggy Adams Animal Rescue. Then came September of 2013, when Karen's mammogram revealed cancer in her breasts. That started an 8-year journey with 3 surgeries and multiple chemotherapy sessions. Throughout these years, it was 1 day of chemo by 3 weeks of follow-up to recover. During this ordeal, she never once asked, why me? She endured all the agony without complaining and with a positive outlook. When asked how you are feeling, she would always say, I'm okay, but you had to be able to read the sound of I'm okay to know exactly where she was. The bright spot during those years was when Seth married Vanessa and had a family. 2 little boys, Leo and Max, 4 and 2. She loved them mightily. Finally, her body gave out and the disease won. I did want to add one other thing. One of the things that really helped Karen through the last 6 months or more was those FaceTime calls with Seth and his family. And they spent minutes upon minutes talking to Leo and to Max, and Max talking to Mimi. That was what they called her, and she loved every minute of it. So during the hard times, those calls brightened her day, and she couldn't wait to answer the phone to see the FaceTime with her new family. Anyway, finally her body gave out and the disease won. So, honey, It's time to be at peace. Go find Maura, Morny, and Rhoda, and meet Ike and Pearl. They will love you forever. Rest in peace.
Thank you, beautiful. Karen and her sister Abby pursued holiness together, not just because their kind, wonderful, optimistic parents had that vision and hope for them, but because they deeply valued each other and their holy connection. I invite Abby to share a glimpse of Karen in a way that no one else can.
Thank you, Rabbi, and good morning. You know how much we appreciate you all being here today to honor Karen and support our family as we struggle through this impossible time. Each of you matters in our lives. Thank you for honoring Karen today. I know I can do this. I know I can. My sweet and beautiful Karen. My mother and I called her Katie for Karen Dina all her life. And my dad called her Corinchicle, his most endearing name. Where to begin to share her story and the core of her being? We were blessed, Karen and I, as we had a beautiful life right here on Miami Beach, this small island at the tip of Florida. So many of you knew our parents. Rhoda and Maury. Dad came to Miami from Brooklyn in the 1930s to create a life for his parents, his sisters, and for himself. He had the good fortune to meet my grandfather, Jimmy Stearns, from Chicago, and met his beautiful daughter, Rhoda, along the way. Karen and I were so fortunate to have both sets of our grandparents, our Aunt Esther, Aunt Rose, and Uncle Herman Feldman here too. So we shared our lives with our family close by, growing up with Lynn and Bob on parallel tracks on Miami Beach and Coral Gables. Our families were steeped in Jewish traditions, and Dad and Uncle Herman were founders of 2 synagogues. Herman was the first president of Temple Beth Am, and Dad was very involved here at Temple Beth Shalom. As the rabbi said, he was proud, always proud to say, that he founded Beth Shalom in his living room. As the rabbi shared, these windows that you see around you were originally donated by Construction Products, a millwork company my dad and uncle owned and managed together. That's why I know Mom and Dad's energy and spirit are here today. We have shared so many important milestones in this sanctuary, not to mention the years of High Holy Day services, with Dad being honored with aliyahs that he was so proud to participate in. I was the first bat mitzvah in this new sanctuary in 1958. We have celebrated confirmations, baby namings, and the sad passages too. Karen and Chuck were married in this sanctuary. Mom and Dad shared so much with us, their love of the arts, theater, music, dance, and the visual arts, of course. Mom gave us a sophisticated view of the world around us. She was always decades ahead of her time in her awareness of art and design, as she helped create the special house where we grew up at 544 Lakeview. Dad gave us a love of learning, old world values, hard work ethic, and of course security. The love they had for us was palpable in every way. They also loved to travel. We had the amazing opportunity to travel to Europe with them when we were teenagers for extended trips during several summers. Such amazing memories we shared. They had a wonderful circle of dear friends, most especially Uncle Lou and Aunt Florence Lighton, and their Karen, who went to camp with us, shared so many experiences, and has been like a third sister in our family. Katie went to North Beach, Nautilus, and Beach High. Life was safe on this paradise island, enjoying weekends at the cabana and having freedom to enjoy the beach and get splinters from the wooden boardwalks. I have to mention our Fanny here. She was our family's housekeeper throughout our lives and so much more. Karen truly adored her. She was a constant source of kindness, and her gentle nature surrounded us. She was an expert in the kitchen and must have been a role model for Karen, as Karen became an expert in the kitchen too. Fanny made her famous coconut cake for every special occasion. I remember when we were young and vacationing with Aunt Audrey, Uncle Norman, Jimmy, Peter, and Ellen in Wisconsin one summer. Fanny packed up a coconut cake for Karen's August birthday and sent it to us in the mail. It arrived in crumbs, but we loved every bite all the same. Karen graduated high school at Windsor Mountain School in Lenox, Massachusetts, and then began her journey outside of Miami. She attended American University, soon married Andy, and moved to Louisville, where she lived for 20 years, having her precious Seth along the way. She shared her life there with the Glogauer family, and Sharon became her best lifelong friend with Tommy, Amy, and Kevin. They have been a most important part of Karen's journey. All the family and friends from Louisville touched her life in so many meaningful ways. Seth has been her pride and joy every minute of the past 45 years. She blessed him with the most unconditional love, enriching his life experiences, whether helping him in school, driving him to tennis, traveling to Florida to visit Granny and Morny, or packing him up for college. She savored every minute. After moving to Phoenix and spending many years there, life brought her back to Florida at a most important time. She was able to be close to all of us during Mom and Dad's final years. Michael J. Fox said, "Family is not an important thing, it is everything." Karen lived by that core value all her life. We all know she was the consummate hostess. Her gift of made-from-scratch meals from Thanksgiving and other holidays will be remembered by all who were lucky enough to share them. She infused love in every cookie she made, in every loaf of bread, in every brisket she prepared. Her greatest way of showing us her love was celebrating each holiday together and making us delicious, memorable meals. We will keep her in our hearts as we gather together in the future. Karen was an animal lover, cherishing the connection and love of her precious sister Cocker Spaniels, Samantha and Savannah, and many others, but mostly her much adored Max. Always a fashionista, she had a flair and style and a classic look, just like our mother, that only enhanced her beauty. Sisters have been an important theme in our life. Mom and Audrey, Karen and I, and Deborah and Emily, 3 generations of sisters. A sister is someone you share closeness with that no one else understands. Your best friend for life. So many friends here today have been blessed with a sister, especially my dear Bay Harbor babes. Linda, Dale, Margie, Karen, Bonnie and Linda, and also my dear Susan and Ellen too. You know about this bond where words are not needed. You just know each other's thoughts. My Deborah and Emily have watched Karen and I, and they know what that means. They both adored you as their Aunt Kay. You've always been there for them, for all of us, as a listener, a guide, a confidant, a model of generosity and love. Deborah said you have set the bar very high for us aunts. She hopes Lexi feels the same way about her that she has felt about you. Beyond sisters and the women in your life are the important men. Of course, Chuck and Seth, but Manny and his boys in Atlanta, David, Billy, Tommy, Kevin, and Ike, and following them, the little men, Leo and Max. They all cherished you too. Creativity was also one of your many gifts. Over the years, Karen worked in several home design stores in Phoenix and at Casa Chameleon on Miami Beach. She brought her exquisite tastes to help many create a perfect, entertaining table setting. She planned many parties, as Chuck just shared with you, and fundraisers, always adding her special ideas and touch to the theme and the fun. A very fond memory I have is one of the greatest things that happened to Karen when she returned to Miami. She met her Chuck, my mother and her dearest lifelong friend, Aunt Beverly Finkel. We're so proud that they made that introduction happen, and you know the rest is history. Chuck, you shared the best years of her life. Karen was so happy, sharing every minute You have been everything, her best friend, her soulmate. Eileen and Julie, you and your families easily became our family, and she adored you and Billy so much. She has been part of Ike's life and Leah and Emily's life, always cheering them on. Chuck, you have been her rock in these past 8 years, helping Karen through this courageous battle every step of the way. Your love and compassion have been so remarkable, and I will be forever grateful for the respect you have given me through these difficult, unbearable days. Sometimes, said Pooh, the smallest things take up the most room in your heart. That is so true about you, Seth. When you and Vanessa brought Leo and Max into your mother's life, your boys, the brothers in our family, took up the lion's share of her heart. She cherished every picture, every funny story, every FaceTime visit. Nothing gave her greater joy than knowing you have a life partner in Vanessa, Seth, and have the joy of fatherhood to experience. And we know Karen had a very large extended family and wide circle of friends from every chapter of her life, especially those from IBIS who have become so close over the years. So many are with us today celebrating Karen's life, comforting our family at this difficult time. When Karen began her journey years ago, our cousin Peter wrote her a beautiful letter. He shared it with me this week. And I think it has a profound lesson for us all when we face impossible mountains. Peter wrote, I hope and pray that somehow deep inside yourself, you're able to find a quiet center, a source of peace and strength on which to draw. Karen, you have always been an example of courage and resilience. Now, again, you're going to have to dig down deeper than you ever have before. Be brave and strong, but never forget to be good to yourself, to be your own best friend, to love every small thing you can that provides you pleasure. Indulge yourself whenever you can. Savor every small task and distraction, and never forget that you're surrounded by love. Chuck, Abby, Seth, your nieces, your extended family and wonderful friends, everyone loves you and will be there now and forever. Feel me with you. Karen, you will always be remembered for your beauty, inside and out, your elegance, your courage, and your generosity to each of us. We have each been blessed with the gift of your unconditional love. We will miss you beyond what words can describe. We know when we see a rainbow, you will be smiling at us with Mom, Morning, and Fanny, and we will hold you deep in our hearts. You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and loved more than you know. I love you. I will miss you. Rest in peace, my sweet and beautiful Karen.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful tribute. I asked Abby and Chuck, but Abby responded. I asked Abby, what was the best moment of Karen's life? And she said, beautifully said, when she met Chuck. For Karen and Chuck, and for anyone who was ever with Karen, love was always in the air.
Love is in the air, every
Beautiful. Take a few quiet moments to remember each in our own way. The Amalei Rachamim prayer asks that Karen's soul go to a place of comfort in the universe and in your hearts. I ask you to please rise for this prayer.
El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bameromim, Hamsei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, Im Kedoshim Utohorim, Kezohar Rakia, Mazhirim, Et Nishmat Karin Shekol, Bat Moshe Virachel, Shehalcha Leolama, Baal Harachamim, Yasirei HaBetzetek Enafam Leolamim, Vitzror Bitzror HaChayim Et Nishmata, Adonai Hu Nachalata, V'tanuach B'shalom Amishkavo V'nomar Amen.
Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Karen Benwitt, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence in the shadow of your wings, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us say together, Amen.
Amen.
In a moment, the funeral director is going to share some instructions with you, if the funeral director's out there. In the meantime, I'm going to share the instructions with you. We're going to be proceeding generally together to the cemetery. The address for the cemetery is listed on the back of, no, the address for the cemetery is not listed here. Okay, it's Mount Nebo, Miami. You're going to go to the, Cantor, help me here, is it the 836? Yes, the 836, you're going to go 195, I-95 South, 836, 57th. You get off at 57th and you go to northwest 3rd and you turn left. We're going to gather outside. We're going to be going together. There is not an escort, and so we'll be obeying all of the traffic laws. You'll put your flashers on and we'll go in procession. Is that correct? Okay, don't put your flashers on. We're going to, and just to remind you, this is for immediate family only. And you'll also see their instructions for Shiva in this pamphlet here, this beautiful, beautiful pamphlet. Okay, so I'll ask you to remain standing as the family is going to escort Karen out of the sanctuary. Sinai, El Halim, Nani Yavot, Azri